everyone. Hope you're doing okay. So this just kind of shocked me a little bit, but this is my 45th interview. 45 people! Crazy! Thank you so much for watching and sticking with us. I wasn't sure, honestly, how it would be, whether people would still stick around and still want to watch. So thank you. Thank you so much. Our audience has grown bigger, as too has my hair. Look at it. Honestly, it is... There's so much of it. It's crazy. Okay, enough about my hair. It will be cut soon, I promise. My next special guest is a musical theatre performer who has been in loads and loads of different shows. Here is my interview with the fabulous Georgia Louise.
Amazing. Awesome. Okay, so my first question is, how did your musical theatre journey begin? What did it start with? Where has it all come from for you?
For me, it comes from my mum. So I grew up watching my mum in like amateur dramatics rehearsals, and it was the only way that she could get me to be quiet. So she'd be like, Georgia's throwing a tantrum, I'm going to take her to carousel rehearsals and then she'll shut up. Because I was just like absolutely mesmerised by everything. And yeah, since then she took me to all her rehearsals, and then I decided that I wanted to join amateur dramatic societies and do dancing and singing like mum. And then I was just lucky enough to be able to afford to go, you know, through scholarships and things like that. My mum back then could never afford to do that, so she kind of helped get me to where I've been able to get today, just because she couldn't get that dream, so she wanted me to achieve it even more. So yeah, my mum even says the first time that I kicked was when she went to see Mac and Mabel in London and the overture started, and I was like, yeah, this is my jam, get me out, I want to do this. She knew she had a stagey baby.
That's so amazing. You could kind of like enjoy that with her.
Yeah, it's always been a thing that we've been able to share. So when I get jobs and when she gets to see me and things, it's even more special because, you know, we've been on that journey since the beginning.
When you were younger then, what roles did you adore? What did you like to watch? What shows did you like to watch? Or what did you think, I really want to play that part?
My mum actually found a programme the other day because she used to have a musical theatre company, and in the bio it says, Georgia hopes to play Roxy Hart in the West End one day. And now the fear of playing Roxy Hart is like, absolutely not, never put me in for Chicago, don't put me in for a Fosse show ever. But back then, because I didn't really know of like my full capabilities and I didn't have anyone telling me like, this is what you can do and can't do, I was like, sign me up. I wanted to be the white cat in Cats. I wanted to be all the dance parts. And then I got to drama school and was like, she's an actor singer. She can move. She's an actor singer. But no, I mean, I watched everything that I could access. So obviously Disney films were always a gateway into musical theatre, I think. But I was obsessed and still am with the Joseph video with Donny Osmond as Joseph.
I loved it too. I loved it too.
And they used to be, you got like, you know, when you used to get double video sets. So one side was Joseph and one side was Cats. And it had like a really cool, like soft close case. I just remember that so well.
That's the thing, isn't it? I think like now kids have so much access to.
Oh, yeah.
So much, you know, like you say, on Disney now, you've got this Disney Plus, Disney Life, all these different things. And they're showing, you know, all these big Broadway and West End musicals, and when we were kids we didn't have that, you know. No. It was whatever was like Joseph was a dream, right? Because you were like, there's an actual musical that they've put for us all to watch.
You know, I had the biggest collection of musical theatre CDs. Like, what even is a CD anymore? But you know, I remember the first time when I got my own laptop, I think I was about 13, and I discovered a bootleg, and it was like a pro shot of We Will Rock You, the London production, and I remember being like, oh my god, and it was like a gateway drug into bootlegs and like everything else, sourcing as much as I could from YouTube, and since then I'm a massive musical theatre fan, and I'm not ashamed to say that, and I don't think anybody should be.
Talk us through your career so far. What have you been up to?
So, before I went to drama school, I was very, very lucky to be cast in a production of 13 the Musical with the National Youth Musical Theatre. And that was directed by Jason Robert Brown. So, to me, a 15-year-old musical theatre geek who used to sit in a bedroom and cry and mime The Last 5 Years and pretend I was Kathy, even though I couldn't understand anything she was going through, but I felt it. To even audition in front of him, I was like, if I don't get the part, that's enough, because I've met one of my heroes. And, you know, I was lucky enough to get cast as Lucy. And from that, I think it kind of solidified. I always knew that I wanted to do this, but being stood on a stage, being applauded, like feeling that buzz, I was like, yeah, this is it. I want to do this forever and ever and ever. So from that, I kind of went to college, lived normal college life, which was a bit of a like, because I was like, I've been on the West End, I'm amazing, I'm only 16 and I've made my debut. And then I was at normal college and was like, okay. So it was quite humbling, because I think when you're 16 and these things happen to you, you can get a bit big-headed, or like you can just kind of let it blow you up a bit. But going back to college really kind of humbled me and was like, remember where you're from, you know, you've got to get your A level and then you can do performing arts. So then I auditioned for Mountview and got in, very lucky first time, and that doesn't happen for everyone. So yeah, then trained for 3 years, went into Kinky Boots about 2 weeks after finishing my last third year show, which was pretty wild. Yeah. And there was a few of us in my year. Some people went on to Les Mis, and someone went into Mamma Mia. There were a few of us who kind of went straight into things, which was amazing. And in Kinky Boots, I played Maggie, the little one who does what a man. But I also got to understudy Lauren. I was second cover Lauren, which was mental. And you know, I'd seen the show a couple of times before auditioning for it, so even getting in the room to be even considered to understudy Lauren was a big deal. I only got to go on twice. It was Valentine's Day and it was a double show day, so I got to do 2 shows, which was amazing. And that was like another kind of solidifying moment, like, oh my god, I am in the right place, this is the right time, I am here. Then during Kinky Boots, I got cast as Sophie in Mamma Mia. So I was doing Kinky Boots in the daytime and Mamma Mia in the daytime, and then going to Kinky Boots at nighttime. So I was literally running from Pineapple in Covent Garden, running to the Strand, getting my face on in 15 minutes, doing the warm-up, doing Kinky Boots. And that was how my life was for about 4 or 5 weeks. So I have never felt that level of exhaustion before. But, you know, it also really helped to push me, because, you know, I was preparing for a lead role, and I don't think anyone can know how that feels until you're doing it, because you're leading a company. You know, I mean, Sophie's not necessarily the lead. There are the Dynamos and the dads, but Sophie's like the young lead.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone really knows how it feels to lead a company, and that's a lot of pressure on someone. So yeah, I was rehearsing in the day, doing Kinky at night, and then I had a week break from Kinky where I was doing Mamma Mia Tech, so I kind of got to recuperate a little bit. And then we played Sophie and Mamma Mia, which was mental. And I remember going to my costume fitting and seeing that, you know, the beginning costume, which is the blue skirt and the blue top, and I was like, oh my god, this is happening, and I'm gonna wear that costume. That's mine. That's not even my understudy costume, that's my costume. And especially because Mamma Mia was one of the first shows I saw as a kid. So that was kind of a little full circle moment for me too. So then after Mamma Mia, I got cast as Natalia in the UK premiere of Preludes by Dave Malloy. And that show, I think, will hold such a special place in my heart, because it was the first time I felt like I got to not originate a role, because it wasn't a new piece, but it had never been done in the UK, and I had a lot of free reign. And it kind of felt like I was able to put in place a lot of the things I was taught at drama school. Because sometimes when you go into these big West End machines, which are amazing, you are often not given any free rein on how you would like to play the character. Sometimes you do, but it's very much like, on this bit you stand on 12 and this is how you're meant to feel and this is how the line should be said, and things like that. Whereas Preludes, it was like, how do you feel? Where do you want to go? How do you want to move? Like, how does this character hold themselves? And it was all the training that I'd done that I could now implement into something.
Yeah.
And I got to meet Dave Malloy, which was crazy, and he is the nicest, kindest man ever. And he was so complimentary to me and the show. And yeah, I think that small, intimate space with a very small cast, we bonded so quickly, and we're still so tight now. I mean, we still chat on the group chat, which tells you we were all pretty tight, because it's been like 4 or 5 months now and we're still in each other's pockets. So that show was really, really special to me. And yeah, now I'm here in lockdown.
Wow. How does that feel to talk about it? You've just like described what you've been doing. You never really, as somebody who's within the business, it's very hard to look back because you're always focused on what's either in the present or what looking forward. Is that constantly swimming forward, don't swim backwards, because that's what's happened. You can't change anything. So how does that feel now talking about it?
It's surreal, because you kind of feel like you're talking about someone else. Like, even when you're performing, you feel like you're floating above yourself, because it's such like an out of body thing, especially if you're playing someone else that's not you. But there are times when I'm on stage and I have those moments. I always used to have it during Slipping Through My Fingers, because Sophie has to stand and pretend that you're looking in a mirror, but there's no mirror. So you can kind of see members of the audience, and you have about 2 minutes just to like stand on your own. And it was always then where I'd be like, I'm in Mamma Mia and I'm playing Sophie and these people are watching me. Like, I feel like being a performer is you kind of forget that the audience there because you're so focused on your job, and then all of a sudden you remember that there's a whole bunch of people watching you, and you're like, oh, this is real, this is happening, this is a thing. But yeah, I think if I'd have told the 15-year-old doing 13 that she was going to get to do it 3 times over and more possibly, she'd freak out.
Amazing. So you were talking there about standing and having those moments to yourself whilst you had an audience. What wow moments have you had?
Definitely the first bow I took in Kinky Boots was crazy, because in Kinky it's really great because each factory member gets their own little bow, which is quite rare for an ensemble. Normally you all bow together, but we got to go forward, do a little pose and then walk off. And when I did my pose, I was like, oh wow, I just took my bow on this stage that has had like people like Patti LuPone on it, and like, iconic people, and there's all posters up the side of the stairs, so you're kind of reminded of who's gone before you, and you think, oh my god, now I'm kind of carrying on that. Another bad wow moment is when I fell in Kinky Boots, which is always, but I was a factory worker, so I carried it off as like I don't know how to walk in these boots, but I walked front and center. There's the bit in the fashion show where you walk forward and show off your boots. And I thought to myself, I'm going to do a really like sassy new thing with my leg. I'm going to like kick it really high. And I kicked it. And then on the way down, my boot zip got caught in the other zip of the boot. So my whole body just literally went. And I looked up, and Jamal, who played one of the angels, was just staring at me like, he helped me up, and I was able to carry on. But then I gave my best raise you up ever, because I was like, I'm going to show you all what I'm made of. But even that, when you reflect on it, it's like, I fell over on a West End stage. Like, I can say that. That's crazy.
That's brilliant. That's the thing, isn't it? Sometimes like your wow moments aren't always the ones that people expect. People, it was when I performed with so and so, and you're like, no, I fell in front of all these. Like you say, not many people can say that they've done that.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a favourite performance venue?
Ooh. I really liked the Southwark. because the Southwark was always one of my dream venues. I always had it on my little list of like things I want to achieve. And I always wanted to perform there because I feel like most of the best, like I have a list on my phone and I rate every show I've seen. And normally the ones that are in my top 10 are mostly from the Southwark Playhouse. You know, Grey Gardens is my favourite show of all time. That production changed my life. And I used to tell Danielle Torrento that every day in hope that she'll cast me in the next version. But, you know, when I finally got to be there, it was like I've seen so many things that have changed who I am and have shaped who I am, and now I'm here, and it's so intimate that you can see every single face.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of helps you get over a little bit of like people are judging me or people aren't enjoying what I'm doing, and you kind of just have to accept that they are there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one for me was a tick off my kind of bucket list of things I wanted to do.
And do you have anywhere else that you'd really like to perform? Anywhere that you've gone, okay, this is pretty cool?
I mean, one of my dream roles is Glinda, so Apollo Victoria, you know. Is it Apollo Victoria or is it just the Apollo?
I think it's the Apollo Victoria.
Yeah. That is one that that is a role I've always wanted to play, so that's somewhere I'd really like to perform. But, you know, also, I've never seen a Broadway show, so like there are so many theatres that I'm yet to see and I'm desperate to see, and I really hope one day I can perform on Broadway. That would be incredible. But, you know, all the theatres are stunning and each one is so different and has its own piece of history or different architecture, and I just find them fascinating. That's why I like going in as soon as the doors open, so I can actually look at the theatre and the chandeliers and all the paintings and things like that. But no, Apollo Victoria is definitely one because it's huge as well. It's vast. It's massive.
If you could pick your dream cast and dream show, what would it be and who would you want to be in it?
Oh, Next to Normal, hands down. Please bring it to London, dear God. It's my favourite show of all time. It always has been. It's been my favourite since I was 15. I know the whole script. I used to sit and watch a bootleg that I had and have it like on my laptop and have Word up, and I'd type out all of the script. So somewhere on this laptop I have the script of Next to Normal, not because I sourced it, because I typed it out. Wow. Yeah. But obviously, you know, Jenna Russell is got to be up there to play Diana, or Louise Dearman. Like, we need an iconic West End leading lady for that role. I really, really want to play Natalie, but I'm 24 now. I still look like a child, so there's possibility of that happening. But like other people, like there were so many great people who could play each part that every time I dreamcast it, I'm like, oh no. And like switch like people around, have pairings. I'm like, well, they wouldn't work with that one. So like I take dreamcasting very seriously.
It would be like, right, they would have a week. That's their week run, and then after your week run, somebody else is we're gonna switch it up.
Yeah.
From when you were younger, did you have a favourite book or film, and would you like to see them being turned into a musical?
So my favourite film is Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind.
Okay.
I think that would be an incredible musical because there's so many like the timeline switches, there's so many different like scenarios that happen that it could really call for like so many different styles of music, and I think it'd be amazing. Also the Truman Show, they're all Jim Carrey films, but you know, my boyfriend is desperate to write the music for the Truman Show, you know, and he's shown me some of the stuff and it's amazing. From when I was younger, I mean, all my favourite films were musicals, you know. Yeah. So like My Fair Lady, Annie, books wise, again, I was such a stagey child. I used to read like Jodie Prender's autobiography and like Ruthie Henshall's autobiography. Like, wow. But no, Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, that would be amazing. And I think it would lend itself, because sometimes I think the mistake that is made where people adapt movies into musicals and the movie itself does not lend itself to music. So, you know, then you're trying to shoehorn songs into something that doesn't need it. Whereas there are some films that call for music to kind of amplify it, which I think Eternal Sunshine does.
And have you ever thought about producing or writing or directing, or are you just like, no, I just want to be on the stage?
I really like directing because I did A-level drama, and obviously like 40% of the module is a direction module.
Yeah.
So I got some experience in that. And I feel like because I'm so obsessed with theatre and I've seen so much, I feel like I could do a good job because I feel like I know what I would like and what other people enjoy. Writing wise, I feel like everyone's tried to write a script at some point in their life. I just can't get on with the format. I write a lot of poetry, and that's what I do, poetry, which I could try and turn into songs, but I can't play music. And also the rhyming, it works differently to songs. So yeah.
So you're gonna stick with the stage for now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
There's the thing though, the beauty about the whole industry, you can kind of like pick it up and put it down, right? You know, if you would say, okay, you know, I am gonna take a leap of faith and try and do some directing, you know, you can then go back to it at a later date, go back to performing. That's the thing. I always thought I did it the wrong way around. I always say to people, like, I've been directing since I was 15, and for the past 10 years, like that's been my life. You know, I've directed, choreographed shows, and I perform a bit, but that's my main job, you know, with my company. And I always say to people, I did it the wrong way around. I should have performed first, and then like no real way around it, because, you know, if you think there are always parts for 40-50-year-olds, so if you want to go in later date, like, you can. There's not really a right way to do it, and I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's what my boyfriend does. You know, he trained at Mount View, same as me, and he's actor singer, but he's also a musician, and, you know, he's written musicals. So he's writing this musical called Millennials. He's got 2 singles out. You know, he didn't see the work in the industry that excited him or that he was getting seen for, so he just went, okay, I'll write my own, and he's doing so well. And, you know, he's also just finished, well, should be on tour right now doing $1 Million Quartet. So you can be both. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do this, and I always tell people there's never an age to pick this up. You know, it's for everyone. You don't have to start at 18. If you decide at 40, I might give acting a go, fine, there's a postgrad. You can be any age to do a postgrad, you know.
Have you got somewhere that you would love to visit?
I really, really, really want to go to Japan. Yeah, especially during the blossom season.
Oh yeah, where it's all beautiful.
Yeah, and just I love places where I'm at peace the most is somewhere where there's like water and there's wildlife and greenery, and I feel like Japan would be the perfect place.
Beautiful. So if are you a shopping bunny? Do you like to shop?
I do.
I wasn't sure whether this question would be like, you might go, oh god, I hate it. So if you were told you could go on a shopping spree, where would be the first place that you would go?
I would go somewhere that sold makeup. So probably Boots. My obsession, if anyone who knows me will know that I have a very large collection of makeup. I am thoroughly obsessed. Makeup and skincare, that's my jam. I've got all the clothes I need. They'll fit me for a while. Skincare and makeup, there's always something new being invented or brought into the market. So just as you buy something, you're like, oh, come on. Like, why'd you have to bring that out? I have to get that.
You have Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to follow a lady who does like loads of different clients, lots of like Hollywood A-listers, and her name's Jamie Makeup. You need to follow. Okay, she is incredible. And honestly, like, I would say, like, I love jewelry and things like that. That's kind of like where I mean, I've got a covered in ring. I love it. So makeup was never really like, I wear it, but, you know, I kind of stick to the same thing. And then during lockdown, this woman has blown my mind.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, I need to have all these things. And she does all these like giveaways, and she does all these tutorials. Trust me, you need George. She is. I've spent hours during lockdown just watching this woman. Like, incredible, or like, wow, that's insane. Yeah, and I think my bank balance is worse for wear.
Yeah. The angels in Kinky used to make fun of me because I would always take longer to get ready than the angels doing drag. So my friend Jed would come up and be like, "Hi, how are you?" And I'd be like baking, like, "Hello." Like a factory worker, like baking, and like a winged eye, like, "Hello."
Yeah, she takes pride in her appearance.
She does. She was influenced by the angels. That was my way to get around it.
So when we are not in lockdown, what would be your favourite place to go and eat? What would you say? Have you got like a favourite chain, or is there a specific little restaurant that you like, or a type of food?
I want to go to Bodine's again. Have you ever been to Bodine's?
No.
Bodine's is like a Canadian themed place where they do poutine, which is the best thing ever invented, which is chips, gravy, and cheese curds, and like herbs and spices. Sensational. But then they do a thing where it's like they do the burn ends of the ribs that they make. So it's like the most tender, chewy, crispy things just coated in barbecue sauce. Yeah, I want that now.
Incredible. Is this in London?
Yes. It's sensational. There used to be one across from Mamma Mia, so that was my mid-show meal, which is never great. It's not like a healthy light salad. It's like, what have you had? Poutine and ribs. Let's do a show. Like,
oh God.
Literally, I have a dream. Oh, God.
Is not to throw up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think it kept you busy during lockdown?
Definitely makeup, like just choosing, like, especially if I don't feel great, I'm like, well, I'll do my makeup and then I'll feel a bit better. And it also helps me like get things done. If I feel like I've made myself up, I'm like, well, now I need to be productive. But also I've been teaching recently. I've just started teaching via Zoom, which is really helping kind of fill my days. I'm doing pay what you can lessons because, you know, it's a difficult time and not everyone has money right now. So I just thought I'll do pay what you can, and you can literally pay me anything and I'll give you a lesson because I'm bored and I need something to do. So I don't care if you give me £2. Like, I just want to pass on things and teach people. So that's been keeping me busy. I've been on the Xbox a lot. I've been playing Red Dead Redemption. I finished Red Dead Redemption. So yeah, I'm a lot of gaming as well. I'm a newly brought into the world gamer. I got my Switch like 3 years ago, and I was like, I like this. I can vibe with this. And my boyfriend has an Xbox here, and I didn't really know how to use it, but now I do. I am glued to it and can't stop. But yeah, I'm also lucky to be locked down with my boyfriend, so you know that's 24/7 entertainment anyway. So I'm fine.
Like I worry that for people who are on their own, you know, God, I was still living in London 3 years ago, and I was in an apartment on, you know, obviously with other people, but I was essentially living on my own, and I kind of thought, oh my God, you know, I can't imagine 3 years ago having this situation. We had a courtyard. We were very blessed to have, like, you know, a gym and everything within the complex, but we wouldn't have been able to use any of that stuff. No. And like, you know, my room was so small. Oh my God, I'd have been climbing the walls. Yeah. Most part, you know, you're lucky to have people, you know, like this morning it was like, okay, you know, once I'd done my workout, I've got a spare hour, and we were baking, you know, like, you know, that it takes the joy out of that when you're on your own, you know. You sure do it, but you know, who cares, right? Whereas when you're together and you're having fun and it's a mess and what you've made is totally inedible, but had a good time doing it. Yeah. I think it's helped, I don't know about you, but it's really helped pass the time.
Yeah, and it's kind of given me more of a routine as well, because I'm so bad at setting myself routines. And I normally, like, if I were on my own during this time, I'd probably just have sat and wallowed for months. Like, it's not hard for me to get into like a negative headspace. So this has been so hard. And God, there have been days where I've been sobbing for days, like, and in such despair. But, you know, the grant from the government has really helped kind of lift my spirits, because finally they heard us. We're finally being taken seriously. So that's really helped. And yeah, just I found setting a routine helps. And physically, when I get into bed at night, writing in my notes, literally timestamps of what I'm going to do, because at least if I feel hopeless, I have something that I have to stick to.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, like, for me, my 2020 diary, you know, went out the window in March. So as soon as I had to pull the plug on our company rehearsals and all of my one-to-one lessons and everything, and schoolwork that I was doing with these kids, it was like, right, you know, that was literally 5 days before we officially went into lockdown. Right, well, I might as well kiss this diary goodbye, because we're all saying it's going to be a couple of weeks, but the reality is we know it's not going to be. So I bought a journal instead, and I was like, right, instead I'm going to buy this, I'm going to get this, and every day I'm going to document what I did. And even if all I did was, you know, a yoga session and then sat and watched rubbish on the telly, that's what I did, you know. And I kind of feel like that, I'm with you. It kind of really helps to have that structure and go, hey, well, either this is what I've got to achieve, or this is what I have achieved. And sometimes it's really difficult, you know, when you're somebody who looks forward to things all the time. That's, you know, that's what I've built the past 10 years on. It's always been about, what are we accomplishing next, what are we doing next, who are we performing with, what are we doing. So when that's gone, you're like, well, what do I do?
It's hard to feel like you have a purpose. I feel like especially when you're an actor and your job is to, like, bring joy to people or make people feel things and literally perform and put yourself out there, when you're literally being locked down and told you cannot do that, it's really hard. And, you know, I've found it hard to even sing. You know, over the past month I've been able to sing a bit more, but I've just found that, like, it just made me too sad, because I was like, what's the point? And, like, why am I doing this? And I feel like singing, I was talking to my friend Rebecca Kane about this, and we agreed that, like, singing is from the soul as well. It's not just, I'm going to sing now. And for some people it might be, but for me it's a whole body thing. So if I don't feel like it, I can't do it. But luckily I've been able to pick myself up over the past few months and, you know, get routine and find things that make me happy that aren't performing, because I feel like before lockdown I didn't really have those things. And I think now I realise the importance of having hobbies that are outside of your work.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think during this time, although, you know, a lot of it has been just rubbish, and you have felt so lost without your craft, I guess, it has made you evaluate things. And it has, well, personally anyway, you know, anyone else, but it has made me evaluate things, and also it has made me appreciate things and think of new things. You say, go, okay, you know, so this is my life and this is what I did 7 days a week, you know, this is it. But what can I fill my time with now that actually when I do get back to that, I would quite like to still keep up?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So my last question for you is, when we get out of lockdown, or, you know, we're not in total lockdown now, but when, it still feels like it though, doesn't it?
Yes.
What do you hope to be doing?
I really want to see a show. I'm desperate. I am hoping to be going into something. I can't obviously say what, but I've been lucky that during this time I've had something to hold on to, and hopefully it's going to still happen. So I'm hoping to be working when this is over. And I feel like that first day rehearsals and that first show, it's going to be electric, because, you know, there's thousands of us locked up in a home, just absolutely gagging to perform again. It's gonna be crazy, that energy.
And can you think about, like you say, you know, everybody that's on the stage or that's behind the scenes that are putting on these performances, you know, are so excited. But can you imagine, you know, that 13-year-old you, somebody out there was 13-year-old you, and then, like you say, desperate to go and see a show, and they sit in that audience for the first time in months, like a year, or for that person who sat in that seat for the very first time, has never been to see a show before, and by chance, on a whim or with a school trip or whatever, just because they've been dragged along sometimes, and that you get to be that person's first experience.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's incredible, right?
Yeah, I remember thinking when I was younger, I remember seeing Phantom and I was on the front row, and I remember just like looking up at an actor and thinking, oh, I really want to make someone feel how I feel.
Yeah.
And every time I go on stage, I always think like, God, think of 10-year-old you watching Annie and how much that meant to you.
Yeah.
You're going to be that for someone else. And that's what I always try and remember. And I find that really humbling, that it's like, at the end of the day, it's not even about us. It's about the people who see the shows and how it makes people feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like one big emotion, isn't it? You know, you're all together, all of you. And even like from, you know, the stagehands, you know, everybody that's in that room at that time, that space, everybody must feel it, and you kind of get to experience that all together every night with a different group of people. Incredible.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Thank you for having me.
No worries at all. To chat.
Yes, and speak to someone new.
That's the thing, everybody's been saying to me, like, Jen, don't get me wrong, I love my family, but it's so nice to see you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. Well, what I'll let you know when it goes up on the channel, so you can put it out and
Okay, fab.
what we've been doing.
Yeah. All right then, fab.
Well, you have a lovely rest of your week. Take care.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
No worries at all. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you so much, Georgia. Amazing to chat to you. And hopefully we'll be back at the musical theatre game very, very soon. All the best of luck. More great guests to come. Here's hoping we can hit 50. Thank you so much for all of your kindness and your support. Keep sharing with your friends and family. Keep liking, keep subscribing. We've got to do this, guys. Speak to you all soon. Take care. Bye.